All right. Welcome to session 13 of Ignite. Today, session 13 is about qualify potential buyers and sellers. This will be the remaining block of lead follow-up, as we will see in a little bit. And it's an important class because based on this class, we will learn how to prioritize the lead or contact we have as we follow up with that leads and determine the strategy and the systematic approach when we follow up, okay? The entire Ignite framework, for those of you who are new, and even for those who started from day one with us, explains the plan of how to become successful in real estate. It's comprised of 4 segments. First segment is how to become a real estate expert. And as I mentioned before, anybody can have a real estate license and become a real estate agent. But the idea is we want to become real estate experts, so people decide to choose with us. And it was comprised of 4 classes: Spark Your Career, Embrace Your Job, Connect with Your Market, Learn About Your Market, and Define Your Value. What is your value proposition that you're offering to your clients? That's becoming a real estate expert. That's the first segment. The second segment, which is very important, our primary core task as real estate agents, is lead generation. Without lead generation, we cannot make money. We constantly have to be recruiting our methods and models and systems in order to get more leads, in order to convert it into contacts and business. So we learned in 5 classes how to generate our leads, how to build our database and grow our database, how to capture leads with open houses, and how to capture leads with social media and other means of capturing leads. And that was the 5 classes related to lead generation. The third segment, which is lead follow-up, we learned how to keep up with every lead and follow up with the leads, strengthen our relationship, and now the final building block today, qualify potential buyers and sellers. And that wraps up the third segment of lead follow-up, which we will learn today. Because always our main tasks in real estate, lead generation plus lead follow-up. With these 2 together, we can make a transaction, which is the 4th segment, which we'll be starting in next class. Win the buyer, win the seller, work with buyers and sellers, make, receive offers, negotiate offers, get to the close, and plan your future. The first 3 segments are working on your business, how to grow your business. That's what the first 3 segments are about, on your business. The 4th segment, which is transaction, works on or deals with working in your business, when you're actually submitting an offer, when you're negotiating an offer, when you're getting that seller to sign the listing agreement or the buyer to sign the buyer consultation, the buyer agreements. So working in your business and working on your business to make it grow, in your business to make the transaction close and you get your commission check. So some of you may ask, how come qualified potential buyers and sellers are not part of the transaction, for example? Does anybody know why it's not part of the, in this segment here in the transaction? Why is it under lead follow-up? What do you think? Well, I mean, why didn't they put it, like, for example, under the transaction? Part of like win the buyer, before win the buyer, it will be like qualified potential buyers and sellers, win the buyer, win the seller. Why is it under lead follow-up?
Because that's like the first step that like a buyer needs to like complete before we can move on to like anything else.
Yeah, yep.
We can't show them a house that's more than they can afford.
Yes, in a way, and another way, it's part of the lead follow-up process. When we get a lead, we got to find out if that person is qualified. But we're going to get to that in a little bit in detail. We got to find out if that buyer is qualified to buy a house or the seller is ready to sell and he's able to sell, all that stuff. So it's part of the lead follow-up process. And once we're sure of that, then we get to, getting to the appointment, which will be in whether with a buyer to sign a buyer agreement or a seller signing a listing agreement. So that's the framework. Any questions about the framework so far? Utah, you good? Good. Today's agenda. We're going to learn how to find the motivated, classify by able, ready, and willing, qualify buyers and sellers, and then recap Sanaha. These are what we're going to learn today in today's session. Gary Keller, in his book Shifts, your number one job as a real estate agent is to find ways to get in the path of motivated buyers and sellers. That's our number one job. That's why we're constantly following up with our database. Because at some point, they don't even know when, eventually they're going to either need to sell or buy. And at that point in time, when that thought comes into their head, I want to buy a home, I want to buy an income property, I want to sell my home, I want to sell my income property, you want to be in front of them so that they would remember you. Because people work by memory. Remember how I always said, when I say soft drink or sodas, what was the first two names that come up to your mind? Coke and Pepsi, yep, exactly. You want to be the Coke and Pepsi in real estate. You know, that's the idea. When a real estate topic comes, when you're not around, yep, Utah. Yeah, Veronia. Yeah, that's the idea. How can this happen? By constantly following up with your database. So, find the motivators. We need to dispel myth understandings. Notice how they spell it, myth understandings. Why do myth do you hold about finding buyers? What myth do you hold about finding buyers and sellers? So what are your thoughts about that, about finding buyers and sellers? What myths you may think you have? What is your perception? Do they like work with only the top agent in a certain city or the top agent in a brokerage, or what do you guys think?
I mean, you would assume a myth would be like if they have a real estate agent in their family, that they'll work with their family member. But that's, in my opinion, that I would say that's a myth.
That's a very good myth. It happened many times that people approach me to work with me, to sell or to buy, when they had a family member. So that is a myth. And it's sometimes friends, yeah. So they would, yeah. So not necessarily because it's myth. So the idea is you got to protect yourself as well. You may have a family member who would work with somebody else. So the idea is you got to show yourself, remind your family member or friends that you're in real estate. You got to also show them that you're knowledgeable, because they might know you're in real estate, but they don't feel that you're that strong. You're just in it. You just have a license, but are you able to help them make that important financial decision of selling or buying? So you always have to be in front of them and at the same time showing them how knowledgeable you are. That's why the first segment was all about becoming a real estate expert. We learned about that. And the value proposition that you offer. For example, tomorrow, Value Square, John is giving that class. It's all about value proposition, value. It's a 4-hour class, but it's worth it. You know, attend it tomorrow if you can. It's going into detail about how you should present the value proposition. That was, by the way, class number 4 in Ignite.
So is the class tomorrow going to be just more in depth of what we?
Yeah, more in depth and more examples, and yeah, it's going to be a detailed class. Yeah, I'm going to be in Orange County taking a different class about training the presenter. So let's learn based on statistics. Surveys ran by NAR, National Association of Realtors, how buyers find the agent they work with, okay? So here's all the possibilities, and we'll see if it's all the buyers, first-time buyers, repeat buyers. Which is you think is bigger? Is it like by coming to an open house and they work with the buyer, or referral from another agent, or for sale signs, or website, or inquired about the property, or used agents previously from who they bought the house with, or referral from friend or neighbor? What do you guys think is gonna get more on the survey? And this is based on buyers. They inquired. You know how in Family Feud 100 people survey say so. This is something like that, but it's with they talk to buyers. How did they find their agents? What do you guys think is more?
I feel like a referral.
Yes. The biggest one was referral. I hope you said that because it's not because it's the first one on top, but it's just good. No, but I know you did it. That's good. Good job. It is. 47% of all buyers chose their agent based on a referral. See how important that is? From a friend or from a neighbor. First-time buyers, also 57% of them were referral. And repeat buyers, 41% were referral. So you might think of yourself, so how can I be referred? When you're constantly following up with your database, always in front of them, constantly following up. You know, anybody who's looking to buy or sell, they're going to remember you and they're going to refer you. That, in addition to, you're showing your knowledge and expertise in the field. You could be following up, but they don't know if you're good or not. They will be afraid that they would refer you and they would make them look bad, you know. Agent previously in a transaction, 13%. Can you imagine? That shows us the importance for us. When you close a transaction with a buyer or a seller, you got to follow up with that. Don't end the relation. Keep on following up with that past client, because that past client eventually is going to do repeat business. If you forget about him, he's going to forget about you. Inquire about the property, 7%. Website, 9%. For sale, sign. You always, when you drive by, you see all of that. The top agent is so lucky. Look at all of his for sale signs all over the place. But that's not necessarily how they choose them. So that's a myth if you think they're going to go necessarily to the for sale sign or that famous agent. That's not necessarily true at all. Based on the survey, they go by the referral of the friend or family. Referral from another agent, 5%, and visited an open house, 4%. Surprisingly, open house is the least source to find buyers. Surprisingly, you know, we try to host open houses, but that doesn't discourage you from hosting open houses. You still can get something out of it. But I'm just saying, in reality, this is the numbers, and that's based on 2021 survey ran by National Association of Realtors. That's how buyers found their agent. Now let's look at how sellers found their agents. You think the referral will be the highest portion, or what do you think the high portion will be? Well, the previous agent is the second heaviest one, but it's good. So it's going to be close to the other one. All sellers, referrals from friend or neighbor, 39%. First-time sellers, 47% referral. Repeat sellers, 35%. Agent previously in transaction, 29%, 24%, 31%. And then all the others are just small portions, as you can see. It just shows you the importance of referrals, you know. So if you're calling up a friend or someone you know, are you looking to buy or sell? No, I'm not buying, at least for 2 years. I'm just waiting right now. Don't end the conversation there. Do you know anybody, friends, family, co-worker, someone in church is looking to buy or sell? Every time when you call him every quarter and ask him that, it's going to stick to his mind. Yes, I do know. Dan is a good agent. Go to him. Stuff like that. So that's how sellers find it. This statistics also happened for 2021 in a survey by the National Association of Realtors. This just shows you how buyers think and how sellers think. Okay, so don't think, oh, they're only going to work with, you know, someone who's been in the business for 30 years, who've sold hundreds and thousands of homes. No, it doesn't work like that. There are some people who think like that, but not everybody. It's a minor amount who does that. So here it just shows on commands when you create an opportunity, and you know the process for that. We will be making a separate class on commands, me and Grants, at some point within 10 days or 2 weeks. I just have to arrange it, and we'll announce about it. Ahas or questions or any takeaways that you guys have? Yeah, you want to say something?
Well, I would have listened that with the open house, perhaps, somebody would be more likely to
Yeah.
contact that agent, but
Yeah, I know, I agree, but still, if you have a chance to host an open house, do it. Still good. But the survey, I feel is true because in the last 3 years that I've hosted open houses or held open houses of my own listing, I notice most people who walk in either have their own agents or they're just not serious buyers. But that doesn't necessarily have to be with you. You might get lucky. Don't think, oh, okay, so my mindset, open house is no use. No, don't think that way. So if you have a chance to get an open house, take it. You might get a lead and nurture that lead to be a contact, then to be converted to a transaction. But reality is, people ask for referrals. Just like, for example, if you have a leaky faucet and you want a plumber, you would call your friend, you know a good plumber, you know a good contractor, you know a good painter. Same thing for a realtor as well. If your dentist moved away, most likely you're going to ask your friend, who's a good dentist I can go to because my dentist went away. Something like that. You always want an opinion from someone you trust. Okay, classify by able, ready, and willing. That's very important. We'll see her in a little bit. In Gary Keller's book, The Millionaire Real Estate Agents, a national bestseller, focus becomes increasingly possible in direct proportion to how clear you are about what you want, when you want it, and what you must do to get it. So you got to be clear on what you want. So when you do focus, if it's vague what you want to do, you won't be able to focus because you're not clear of what you want to accomplish. But if you want to accomplish, let's say I have to have 12 transactions in 1 year. I want to do 20 transactions in 1 year. So you have something clear. So now you focus, what do I need to do to get those 20 transactions? Okay? And then when it's clear for you, it will be directly proportional, to what you want and when you want it and what you must do to get it. Able, ready, and willing. Whenever you work, especially with buyers, you got to make sure of three things. That buyer is able, willing, and ready. Okay? Able means financially capable. Okay? That means he has a pre-approval, he has down payments. Of course, if he's a veteran, he doesn't need a down payment because he can get a VA loan. That's for able. Willing, he has the motivation. There is a motivation. I want to become a home buyer. That's why we always have to ask a lot of questions. Whenever we meet a buyer, we're going to get into detail into the class when the buyer. You have to ask lots of questions to see what is his motivation. For example, a good motivation is his lease is expiring in a couple of months. So he decided he had enough with the rent and I want to, become a homeowner. That's a good motivation. So because some people are just looking around, they're not serious buyers. You don't want to waste your time. I'm going to go to see how we deal with that in a little bit. That's for willing. Ready, he's prepared to buy. He has everything ready. He's already has a pre-approval, able and willing, and he's prepared mentally to buy and not have any cold feet. So these are the three circles that have to come together: able, willing, and ready. And that applies also to sellers. Okay, we need to classify our opportunities. Our opportunities are classified into three categories. You know how when we said in the database on command, we tag into different categories? Buyers and sellers. And we go further if we can get their hobbies or their interests or whatever we can. And Veronia is very good at tagging, making different tags for that. Now, when we have buyers, we're going to classify them into three categories. Same thing with sellers. Something called A buyers and sellers. Okay? A buyers and sellers means they're able, ready, and willing to do business in 30 days. That's a buyer or a seller. By the way, it was originally written 0 to 15 days. But I thought it's better to make it 30 days. If someone is willing to buy a home in 30 days, that's an A buyer to me. I'm not going to go to 15 days, no. Because if I don't, and the reason we're classifying as A buyers, that means he needs our full attention, our full priority. If that person is going to buy very soon, going to sell very soon, if I don't connect with him quickly, some other agent will connect with him, or he will connect with another agent. That's why he's classified as an A buyer. But I think 15 days is just, no, we need 30 days to be stronger follower. You would guess a B buyer or seller, able, ready, and willing to do business in between 31 days to 60 days. So more than a month, but less than 60 days. Okay? That's a B buyer or seller. We will still follow up with that buyer or seller, but we won't follow up like as extensively as we would with an A seller or a buyer, because that person is going to do business. And notice how each category says able, ready, and willing. It's not just able, but no, there has to be ready and willing. Or not just ready and willing, but he's not able. He has to have the three things. So in all categories, it has to be able, ready, and willing, but it's just we're categorizing how, when they want their timeline of finishing. And of course, a C buyer or seller, anybody who's looking to sell or buy after 2 months, able, ready, and willing to do business. That will determine our systematic approach in following up as we enter that person in our database. Okay? Any questions? Okay. So very important, you tag them like this, an A buyer or A seller, extensive follow-up, and you try with the A buyer or seller to get that appointment. If it's a seller, try to get that listing appointment to make your listing presentation to convince him to sign with you so that you would sell his home. If it's a buyer, get him to the office so that he would give him the buyer consultation and he would sign the buyer agreement. Especially now, next month, it's going to be official. Every buyer has to sign a buyer agreement. So you got to do that.
So will prospecting from open homes be less? Because every buyer who comes in will most likely have.
Well, no, you're going to ask. You're seeing an open house? Did you sign a buyer agreement with another agent? That's a legit, now that's going to be a new question. We're going to see a lead sheet and a little bit of the questions to ask. We're going to see it in a second. But that's not one of the questions because that NAR settlement is pretty recent. So did you sign any buyer agent agreements? He will tell you, yes, I did or I didn't. You know, if he told you he did, then that's not your client.
So it's actually a better way to ask because I feel like if you say you have an agent, then you just say yes. But if now you know like if you signed a buyer, like everyone has.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He may have talked to somebody but didn't sign. The key thing now is the signature, because without the signature, there is no commitments. That's it. Yeah. And you can even submit an offer without a buyer agreement now. So these are the three categories for buyers or sellers where you classify, and the reason for those categories is to prioritize how your approach will be or the system you would use to follow up with that person. Ahas, questions, or takeaways?
Earlier, I missed a part. So willing, people who are willing to have motivation and that are ready to serve, but what was it for able?
Able is for financially able, like they have money for the down payment and they're pre-approved with the lender. So one of the questions you ask are, did you already speak to a lender? If they tell you not, okay, I know a great lender, I'm going to connect you with him, you will see how much you qualify for. So very important, because if he's not able, let's say he just started the job and he needs like 2 years experience, that doesn't mean you throw him away. You put him in the pipeline and database to follow up with him until he's ready and able, then you start doing that. So it's just a matter, because you don't want to be driving around showing somebody who's not going to be purchasing anytime soon. Because showing buyers is really time consuming. And gas is expensive. What? Yeah, exactly. I thought. Now qualified buyers and sellers. So why do we qualify? One of the reasons is, of course, to make sure we're not wasting our time, because our time is valuable. And when we do that, this is a win-win for both of us. Win for us because we don't want to waste our time with someone who's not going to do anything and waste money and gas and, in our car. And it's a win for the client because it's a kind of waste of time too, because he wasn't educated that he's not able, for example, or he's not, What if he's in a lease that's not going to be over before 10 months and he can't get out of it? That's one of the things that would prevent him. So that's something that makes him not ready. Okay? You document everything they tell you when you ask a lot of questions, and you follow a checklist of the questions. We're going to see in a little bit what kind of questions you can ask. And you abide by fair housing regulations. Okay? In other words, you don't discriminate. Oh, I want to work with this person or I want to work with that person. No. Avoid any discrimination and follow the fair housing regulations. So there's a buyer lead sheet. So let's say you're in an open house, you would for example, you would put in your name and your email. As I mentioned, we capture information here. As I mentioned before, when we get information in the lead generation model, and database model, there's something, the starting point is called lead capture. And we capture leads by prospecting or marketing. So this is part of the lead capture. You get the name and email and cell phone. That's, the weakest, the basic or minimum thing you need to get from them. If you can get any other information as you're doing the conversation, put it in. That's the part where it says document. If he can get the address, if he's a homeowner, good, so we can update him on the value of his home, on the sales in his area. If he's renting in a certain area, so you can mail him some information if you want to. Find out from him what's the best way to get in touch. Is it the cell phone? Is it email? Some people prefer to be texted. Some people prefer to calls, not text. Some people prefer email. So just find out what's the best way. One of the questions you'll be asking, has the agent taken you out and shown you any properties? This is an indirect way of knowing if they're working with an agent or not. They will tell you yes or no. If no, they're not working with an agent. If yes, maybe they're not committed. Maybe that agent, they're just, we don't know. But all this will be resolved next month when everybody's going to be signing a buyer agreement. Is there anybody else buying the home with you? This is an important question because if his wife is working or if her husband is working, that will make him stronger purchasing power because they're going to use both incomes. So that would help. Who will be living in your home? They will tell you, yeah, my 3 kids and we have a dog and a cat, whatever. How long have you been looking for a home? If they tell you, for example, I've been looking for a home for 2 years, it might tell you that's a red flag for you. They're looking for a home for 2 years. That means they kind of either too picky or they waste time. So find out, for example, if they tell you 2 years, why? What's taking so long? What's the reason? Is it your agent can't find it? What is the holdup? Find out the reason and see what the problem is. And where are you moving? What cities do you prefer? I prefer Torrance. You're okay, for example, with Gardena, with Redondo Beach, why Torrance? What's so special about Torrance? Stuff like that. Do you know when your leases end? Stuff like that. There's a lot of questions that could be asked in here, and I can email you guys the lead sheet for a buyer lead sheet. When you could just email me and I'll respond back with the lead sheet. Okay. Now, okay, let's do a quick role play of, let's say I'm the buyer walking into your open house and you can ask me questions and see what happens, okay? Okay, Yuta, we'll start with you. Okay. It's okay, don't worry, because we'll just see you. It's a good way to practice. Hi, how are you? James Abdul Malik, yeah, I just wanted to check out the open house. Yeah, I saw the sign, so I just thought I'd pop in. It's okay. I'll look around, and if I have any questions, I'll ask you. Yeah. Okay. I just started looking. A single family, 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms. Yes, I have a wife, 2 kids. Yep. No pets. No pets. No, my wife is doesn't like pets because they get the house dirty. No. No, these good questions. No, you're good conversation. You're breaking the ice. That's good. Whenever I tell you something personal about myself, take notes. Very important. So you remember James walked in, he has a family, so and so, he's looking for 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, So if I do give you my information, you'll be able to follow up, based on the questions you ask. Okay. Okay, Veronia? Hi, can I see your open house?
Absolutely welcome.
Mhm.
Are you from the area?
Yeah, I live nearby. Yeah,
Okay. Are you looking for yourself or for someone else?
I'm actually thinking of this as an income property.
Okay. Very, very nice. So,
Mm.
like a second home, like
Yep.
to rent out.
Mhm.
Very nice. Have you looked at other places before?
Not my first house here.
First house, okay. And is there any like, specific qualifications that you're looking for in the house?
Just 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, spacious front yard. That would be good so that when they're bringing good rents. Yeah.
This is a great area.
Mhm.
2 bed, 3 bath, just like you wanted.
Mm.
Beautiful backyard. If you have any questions, you can always ask me, and I'll be here for.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, and try to get my information right away. Very good. Okay.
For open houses, do you suggest I ask for the information or have everyone check in?
Yeah, everyone check in when they walk in.
Okay, so I don't.
Let them. Yeah. Just show them the sign-in sheet, just as all requests. That you would sign in here, and then as they're done with the tour, start having this conversation with the buyer, and yeah, and then take notes. Yeah, and take notes and see what. Yeah. All right, Dan. May I see your open house?
Oh, hi there. Welcome to my open house.
Hi.
How are you doing today?
I'm good. Thank you for asking.
How's the drive?
That was good. Okay. Yeah. Your signs made me come in. Yeah.
Awesome. So first things first. Are you recording?
No, not right now.
And then how long have you been?
Just started. It's okay. Don't worry about it because you can always prepare the questions. So when that doesn't have to be on the spot right now, but later on when you're in the open house, you're going to already have the questions pre-written. So even when you're talking with them right now, you're going to have a cheat sheet in front of you. If you forget something, so and so, okay, and so it's okay. Don't worry.
That's not good, actually,
Mm.
getting to have a cheat sheet.
Yeah. So it's okay.
What's when you typically hold open houses, do you bring like let's say it's not
Mm.
it's not what's it called? It's not it's like an empty house. Do you bring in your own stuff so you can set up like a table?
If it's vacant completely, yeah. So yeah, you'll just bring in like a small chair, folding chair, and some, you know, yeah. And there's like stuff emergency kits where you would bring with you just in case, like air freshener, just in case the house doesn't smell good. Toilet paper in case the bathroom doesn't have any toilet paper. Stuff like that. There was a list of things that you would bring in an open house. Yeah. I'll also be running through that. Okay. Hi. I saw the sign, so I thought I'd check your house.
What brought you in? Was it the size of the home or was it more of the area?
Yeah, I like the location, and I saw the sign, so I thought I'd check the house out.
Great. What type of home was it?
Preferably single home, yeah, 3 bedrooms, 2 bath, yeah, that's what I would prefer.
Great. Do you have family living in with you or
That was going to be a rental income.
rental income? Is there a specific or is this
No, just it's to be close to turnkey, so that's I don't want to do a lot of repairs because I don't have time for that right now. I just want to buy it and rent it out right away. That's very good. Good. You did good, all of you. Thank you. So, touch plans. We discussed touch plans, of course, in for example, in follow up with leads, and the session after that strengthen the relationships. And if you remember, in our database, there's 2 types of persons. leads and contacts. And if you remember the difference, does everyone remember the difference between leads and contacts? Yeah. Leads is a relationship that's not established yet. Like, for example, when I walked in, you just got my information. I'm just a lead. Once there's a two-way communication, I become a contact. So in order to convert a lead into a contact, we need to make 19 touches to connect. Okay? And we took that 4 touches by 4 quarterly phone calls, 12 touches by monthly email, newsletter, whatever, market report, 2 touches, promotional direct mail, magnet calendar, whatever, and 1 touch, annual event or party or get together. That's in order to convert a lead into a contact. Okay? Sometimes it doesn't necessarily take 19 touches. You can become a contact in less than that, but that's, the annual plan to get there. So let's say you get a lead into a contact. It takes 36 touches to convert that contact into a transaction. That means either to sign a listing agreement if he's a seller, or a buyer agreement if he is a buyer, okay? So 4 touches, same thing, 4 phone calls. So basically every quarter we have to always follow up with our database, whether it was a lead or contact. But 26 touches, that means bi-weekly email offering some type of information of value. Notice how always when we send emails, whether it's 19 to connect or 36 to convert, we're always giving information. We're not, you're looking to buy or sell, you're ready to buy, you're ready to sell. No, we're giving free information so they see value in our emails. We're not, because if we're always pushing, they're going to push back. But if he sees value, then he's going to appreciate that. And 2 touches, events getting together, or 4 touches, promotional direct mail and magnets and stuff like that. And there is 1 cement touch that would, to convert from a lead into a contact, which is a high value touch that solidifies the relationship that was established. And we had this, and we discussed this in 2 sessions, and follow up with the lead and strengthening the relationship. So these 2 touches, the 19 touches to connect and 36 to convert, are applied to our B and C buyers or sellers, okay? Notice B and C, not A. Why A is not part of that? You guys know? You think? Because A, they're going to do business within less than 30 days, so they need extensive follow-up now. We're not going to wait 3 months to give them a phone call. No, this person needs to be followed up intensively so we can seal the deal. That's why. So these are applicable to the B and C buyers or sellers, who of course are able, ready, and willing. Any questions so far? So, qualifying sellers. Of course, we're going to go into detail in that in session 15. Win the sellers. This is just, just to whet your appetite. But this is like a pre-listing questionnaire. Of course, we get the seller name, the email, the home address. So this question assumes that that seller called you up. So you say, how did you hear about me? Okay. Where are you moving? So when the seller is gonna, sell his home, you gotta ask a typical question: where are you moving? So let's say he tells you, I'm selling from Torrance and I'm buying in Rancho Palos Verdes, for example. Okay, I can help you with the purchase as well. So you got 2 deals here. You can do 2 transactions. What if he tells you he's moving out of state? What are you going to do here? What if he tells you I'm moving to Massachusetts? Good. Very good. Exactly. Very good, Veroni. Yeah, because in this case, he would refer his business to another agent in Massachusetts and get a referral fee. But you don't have to tell him that part. You're just going to tell him, I'm going to offer you free relocation services. I can have a big network all over the country. So, but then in the end, the other end, you're making money out of it. What's motivating you to move there? You have to know the motivation always so that you can speak to it when it needs to be. We're going to learn about that in negotiations in session 16 and 17. It could be moving with family. It could be job relocation. We don't know. We just want to find out so we can always speak to that when there is any hesitation during a transaction. How soon do you have to be there? That's another also important thing, because if he's in a hurry to move there, then we have to price it to sell. But if he wants to price it at a high point, we're going to tell him it's going to sit in the market for a while. If you sell the home the next 30 days, what would that pose a problem for you? If yes, what the problem would be? That's a very smart question. You know why that's a smart question you would need to ask your seller? If I sell your home in the next 30 days, will that pose a problem for you? If yes, what would the problem be? Why is that a smart question? And it's a smart question in two ways. Simply because, first of all, it shows that you care about him. If that was a problem, I don't want to be causing you a problem. And the other thing, you're implying how good you are. I can sell your home in 30 days, but I don't want that to be a problem to you. So what you're saying is, I compliment yourself, but it doesn't show that way. It shows that you care about him. Is that going to be a problem? Because we can. So it sounds good. Oh yeah, no. I wish we can sell in 30. Oh, it's great. What would happen if your home did not sell? But I recommend we ask that question if he is recommending that we price it high, because because that can also imply, if you, without talking about pricing, you're saying that question, that means you're afraid that it might not sell. So keep that question in the end, in case, let's say you tell them, I think the home would sell well at 1.5 million. No, but I want to put it for 1.7. So that's overpriced. But I insist, because the other agent told me he can sell it for 1.7. Okay, I understand. Okay. So what would happen if your home did not sell? Then you bring that question up. How much do you owe on the property? I'll be sending you a packet of information. We'll take a few minutes to review it before we meet. If you have any questions before we meet, will all the decision makers be there? Very important to make sure all the decision makers will be there. And we'll talk about that in detail in session 15 about when to sell. So all these are pre-listing questionnaire. These are questions you ask before the listing appointments. So let's say he agrees to listing appointment next Saturday. You gotta ask him these questions before. You're gonna ask something. Go ahead.
For the send, when you said I'm gonna send you a packet of information, that's the packet where it includes like the comparative market analysis area.
It has a lot of items. Yeah, that's one of it, and you're gonna have your marketing materials, and if any testimonials about yourself and stuff like that. So.
Is there a class where it teach you how to build your packets and things like that?
Yeah, and Win the Seller, you're gonna see that.
Okay.
This is just talking about qualification right now. So, same idea. B and C buyers and sellers, touch plans, just as we discussed. 19 to connect, 19 touches to connect, and 36 to convert contacts into transactions, and that's B and C buyers and sellers. So the lead follow-up plan, you follow up with every lead and contact that you have, because your database is comprised of contacts and leads. Okay? And each of them is categorized into ABC, whether they were a buyer and seller. Of course, we categorize them first. This is a buyer who's currently renting, and this is a seller or a homeowner. We now can classify them to ABC, so we prioritize our approach in following up with each. And convert, of course, we want to convert the lead into a contact and the contact to a transaction. We want to stay on top of their mind all the time through the systematic approach, 19 to connect or 36 to convert. And we want to qualify buyers and sellers. Ahas or questions? It's a short class today. Okay. So that was qualifying buyers and sellers today. I'd appreciate it if you guys would give me a review. You just scan the QR codes. Oops. And here's all what you need to fill out here. Okay. You can appreciate it if you give me if you scan and give me a review. Yeah. That would be helpful to me. Any questions in general, not just about today's lesson, but in real estate in general? Is this your first time attending at tonight? First time, okay. Yeah, okay. So it's okay. You just joined in 13. You just missed, the first 12. But don't worry, it's going to start again in July. Every quarter we start 20 classes. So just attend from the beginning. And it's not necessarily for new agents. It's also for experienced agents who want to refresh their memory. Yes, you want to say
So
something?
in July,
July 15 something. Yeah, I know. I know here in this office, but I don't know about South Bay. But you're more than welcome to come here whenever you want. Yeah, so it's some, but usually they started on July 15, mid-July, when they start again from session 1, 2, 3, so on and so forth. But it takes build you gradually, from all aspects,
session 13, and then goes
till 20. Yes, and then we start again from 1 to 20, around July 15. It's always on Tuesdays and Thursdays. By the way, this Thursday, which is after tomorrow, most likely I'm going to be coming from San Clemente. I don't think I'm going to make it on time, so class will be on Tuesday, not Thursday. We're not going to have a class, okay? Oh yeah, but yeah, no. After tomorrow, there is not going to be, but there's going to be one on Tuesday, okay? So sorry about that, but I'm just going to be coming from Orange County, leaving 5 p.m. I won't be able to on time. So, any questions in general, guys? What anything you want to ask about anything?
Just a general question. You said ABSC buyer seller.
Mhm.